this ain't for you. This ain't for you, and this ain't for you, and this ain't for you, because this one's for the London lonely. For those who ain't got a one and only, their hearts have no home, and so they roam along the south bank. Look at them, staggered file and rank, eyes cast down and damp. This is for those who don't do eye contact, because if they did, you'd feel taken aback, almost under attack by a sadness caused by delusions of lack there, dotted around the city in their dozens and hundreds. This one's for the lonely Londoners, the West End wanderers, the Soho stumblers with chat-up lines on pieces of paper. Conversation starters might come in handy later, but this one's for the hesitators, the social life procrastinators. I mean, people, why do we hesitate, eh? We all know about the 3-second rule. If you see someone you like, you've got to go in straight. Don't hesitate. When you hesitate, you seal your fate. He who hesitates masturbates. This is for those who daily delete their internet history, and how they've ever even had a love life is a mystery. Oh, this one's for the London lonely, the ones who feel they are the ones and only who's ever felt like this, who never ever felt it would come to this. They're the love song mumblers, the romance blunderers, so steeped in solitude, perhaps a cat at home, hardly ever speak to anyone, perhaps a cat's got their tongue. But this is for those whose minds ain't so sound, or maybe they are and we just need to come around. But you see them, they wander around and up and down like they were happy once, and as if looking for the source, they go back and forth on oyster carts topped up with a couple of pounds. This is for the London lonely underground, on the circle line they go round and round. This is for those who mind the gap. This is for the night bus insomniacs. This is for those who often hear, excuse me, this bus terminates here. And this is for those on the edges of town. And this is for those on the edge looking down and seeing nothing but those murky greys, browns. Look, no matter where you come from, this is for those who feel they don't belong, who dine alone and so they hunger as they plunder the depths of their disconnection with all that is. All that is the delusions of loneliness. You know that all is well, that nothing is amiss, that all they need to do is follow their bliss, but they cannot get a whiff of bliss. So, you got an exhibition to see at the Tate Modern because you got invited by that person you fancy like rotten. Then later on at Wagamama's you got a table booked for 8 because you got loads of mate and you got a birthday to celebrate. You got people to see and people to do. Well, this ain't for you. This one's for the London lonely. For those who ain't got a one and only, their hearts have no home and so they roam. My name is Errol McGlashan, affectionately known as Uncle Errol on the poetry scene on account of my age, I guess. I am a performance poet, also known as a spoken word artist. I've been doing spoken word now for 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years and 3 months. I first started, I went to a night in Brixton. It was upstairs at the Ritzy. And it was like an open mic night, and I saw a poet called Mr. G. And I saw him doing this thing. Now, in the past, I've done bits of acting, and you know, I've done a bit of public speaking when I used to work in education, talking about my previous education experiences and all that as an adult learner. And I saw Mr. G up there doing his poem, and it was about being a Londoner. And I just thought, I can do that. Now, I wasn't sort of looking down on it, thinking, oh, I could do better. It's just that what he was doing was brilliant, and I just thought, but I could do that. I'm pretty sure I could do that. So I went home and I wrote a poem called Slam Poetry. And it was very basic, you know, it was just rhymes, you know, and it was about my desire to get to the mic. You know, I just thought, I want to do this, I want to get on the mic, you know, and there's this saying which I follow, which is I'd rather delude myself than doubt myself, meaning that I'm thinking, right, I can do that, I can be a spoken word poet. Now, other people might not think so, but as I said, I'd rather delude myself than doubt myself. So I went home and I started writing some stuff, you know, so I wrote, so I imagined that I was going to an event and I wanted to perform, you know what I mean, and I'm late. and I go to the host, yo, put me down for some of that slam poetry, a bit of the old wham bam thank you ma'am poetry. Well, give me a bit of stage, a bit of joy, a bit of rage, and I'll give you some proper microphone stand poetry. Now, I doubt if I'll challenge your concepts of reality with some magical Alakazam poetry. I'm more like a rag and bone man. Any old eye, and I'll give you some of that out the back of the van poetry. And it just went on and on like that. And then at the end of it, and then I say, I am poetry. And this was my first poem, you know what I mean? And I'm saying I am poetry. And so I wrote this thing out, I practiced in front of the mirror, and then I went to a place called Jordan's and I performed it, and it was the bomb. It was the bomb. The rush that I got when I was up there, the thrill of being able to express after sitting there for a couple of hours, nervous, you know what I mean, not knowing whether they're going to even call you up, you know, and then not messing up, you know. Now, as I said, you know, I was in my late 40s then, and I can't be messing about, you know what I mean? I can't be doing all of this like going once a week or once when I was feeling like it. So I thought the way to do this is to immerse yourself into it. So I thought this is the way to do it, to get into poetry, to get into performance poetry, to get into performing, to get over the nerves and all the rest of it. I've got to immerse myself. So I started going out every night of the week. I joined Facebook. I joined Facebook solely for the purpose of finding out where there were open mics. And I used to just go, wait my turn, get up onto the open mic, keep banging out the same poem, slam poetry, slam poetry. So then I wrote my second piece, yeah. And now I've got to say, even though it was my second piece, it's my second completed piece, because there's this saying that poems are never finished, they're just abandoned. But anyway, I thought, you know, I'm heavily influenced by reggae, and I remember there was this Dennis Brown song about going back to Africa when he says, come, I got to tell you, don't walk, run. Time to rule your own nations. And that idea of, you know, don't walk, run. And then there was a Carol Thompson reggae song, you know, he's coming down to see me. And these was kind of in my head, and I started to write. And I did not know what I was going to write, but I knew it was going to be some sort of love poem. And then I came up with a poem which I'm well known for, and it's called Autonomy. She comes to me, she doesn't walk, she runs to me. On sunny Sunday morning, she comes to me to snuggle up and slum with me. She sniggers every time I snip her neck, she's just my little slumming bee. And then this just went on, and 3 minutes, trimmed it down to 3 minutes to fit in a slam, you know. Went to a couple of slams and I won them. After that, there was no stopping me, so I just decided, well, keep going out. And then I started to get features, I started to get bookings, and you know, poets hardly ever get paid, but a poet's got to get paid, you know what I mean? So, you know, you start demanding your money, you start demanding your expenses money and that, you know, and carrying on as I'm carrying on. So now I run my own nights. I've been performing for 3 years, I've won slams and all kinds of things. I do it for the love of it. But also what I also like doing is bringing on new people, you know what I mean? Because you know, look at all the pairs of ears there are out there and all the mouths, you know? This is a bottomless pool, you know? And there's people coming up all the time. And sometimes I'm just listening to someone talk and I'm thinking, they don't even realise it, but they've got a certain pattern to their words, you know, they're really eloquent. And I say, listen, you should write something, you know what I mean? And they say, oh, I'm not a writer. And I say, look, do what I do, right? I'm not a writer. What you have to do, you get the pen, you put it on the paper and you move it. If you don't know what to write, that doesn't matter. Keep moving the pen. Make shapes of letters, make words, you know what I mean? And something will come. They say that, you know, the artistry, your art, your creativity, it doesn't come from you, it comes through you, you know? And sometimes in order to let it through, you have to suspend the critical faculty, you know? So on my nights, which is Uncle Errol's Poetry Jam, which is in Bermondsey at the Vibe Bar, at the Vibe Gallery, which is now known as Tri-Space, and I have that on the last Wednesday of the month. And I have many new people come up, so many new people who haven't performed before, they come up and they take the stage, you know? And you know, it's, I think it's a very cool night, you know. It's different from other nights in as much as other nights they'll get on between 8 to 12 poets in the night. That includes a couple of features, you know. I put on 40 plus poets in one night and still give it all the banter and that on the stage, but not too much, because I think it's more important that the poets get up there and have lots of breaks so that they're not too saturated. So yes, I'm the host and curator of Uncle Errol's Poetry Jam. So I feel that poetry, well, yes, poetry, but spoken word in general is of utmost importance. You know, in my life, look, when I was at school, I was always in trouble. You know what I mean? One of the things I was always in trouble for was talking, yapping. You know what I mean? And I've never been one to hold back. You know what I mean? I don't deal with passive anger. You know what I mean? Fuck that. I go off on a tangent. That's another poem. Yeah, and I was always expressing, talking too much, if you like, you know what I mean? Nobody ever said to me, why don't you go on the stage and do spoken word, do poetry, do some kind of monologue or something? No one ever said that to me, that I'd just be told to shut up, and you know what I mean, all the rest of it, you know? And yeah, so I believe that schools do not help. So I shouldn't say schools because, you know what I mean, this was ages ago when I was at school, and I know lots of things have changed, and I worked in education for a while. But when I was at school, poetry wasn't mentioned, you know what I mean? Shakespeare was mentioned, and it was just some boring white guy, you know what I mean? I've since found out that Shakespeare was a black woman, so I've kind of engaged interest in her. But anyway, that's another Oprah Winfrey show. I can talk about that. I've got a poem about it and everything. So, yeah, so just the ability for me to write down my thoughts. You know, we have a monkey mind. My mind is all over the freaking place, you know what I mean? And just to kind of, you know, even the way I'm talking now, I know it's all over the place, and I wish my man good luck with the editing, you know what I mean? You know, it's all over the place. What writing does, what poetry does, is help you to get your words down in order, you know what I mean? Get the right words down in the right order so that you can express what you're trying to say, you know? The therapeutic side, you know, it's been said that if you are able to build up your feelings vocabulary, you know what I mean, the words that you use to describe feelings, if you are able to build this up, to broaden it, it has a therapeutic effect on the brain. It has a therapeutic effect on your whole soul. It helps, it enables you to express yourself without these damaging emotions the way that we do it, you know. I like that. I really like the idea of that, you know. Often when we're asked how we're feeling, we just say, oh yeah, I'm all right, or I'm feeling good, or I'm not too good. Well, how about just broadening all the words that you can, you know what I mean, and memorizing them, you know, and then putting them into your poetry. The idea of communication, effective communication, you know, as I say, writing stuff down does help you to, you know, like it's like having a lump of clay. So you've got all these mass jumbled thoughts in your head, and that's like a lump of clay. And the pen is like the scalpel, you know what I mean? The pen is where you know, carve it up so that you get rid of the stuff that you don't want, you know, so that you keep the stuff that you do. And we know nowadays that any job that you're going for, your ability to communicate what you're trying to say is of utmost importance, you know. If you're starting a business, putting together your elevator pitch in an engaging way, you know, well, writing poetry can help you do all these things, because writing poetry does engage people, it engages their emotions. And if you want somebody to buy off you, you know what I mean, if you want somebody to come round to your way of thinking, if you want to persuade somebody, you have to get their emotions, and poetry is the best way to do that, you know what I mean? Saying things but in a different or unexpected or interesting way, because everything what's been said has been said before, you know, but to say it in an interesting way so that it can, you know, so that it can get hold of you. The London poetry scene, I love the London poetry scene at the moment, you know, it's wide, it's big, and some people say, oh, it's being saturated. No, it isn't, because sometimes I go onto the page and I'm just thinking, oh, there's nothing going on, or there is something going on, but it's the other side of London, you know what I mean? As I said, there are so many pairs of ears and so many mouths and so many ways of expressing yourself, and so many people who are potential wicked performance poets that you can never saturate it, you know what I mean? You can never saturate it. I intend this year to run at least 6 nights, you know what I mean? So that people can come on. So please, tell somebody that Uncle Errol is going to be running poetry nights all through 2014. And if you know someone who's a secret writer, or they say to themselves, yeah, did you know that one of the biggest fears, there's 2 fears. One is getting up on the stage. That's one of the biggest fears, getting up on the stage and talking to a group of people. And the second one is death, you know what I mean? So if you can overcome that fear, that fear which you thought you would never do, and you're able to do it, and you're able to get up on the stage even for 1 minute and speak your piece, then there's no stopping you. There's no stopping you. You can get up there and express yourself to a group of people who you don't even know and have them up clapping at the end of it and coming up and asking where can they find you, then there's no stopping you. You can do anything.